Hola, you're listening to First Gen Healing, a podcast on Latinx healing and awakening journeys. My name is Priscila Luna. I am your host, and I'm going to let today's guest introduce himself. Muchacho, let us into your world.
Hello, everyone. My name is Enrique Ramirez, and I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Long Beach, California.
Ooh, Long Beach. Are you originally from Long Beach?
Yes, I was born and raised here, so I've been here my whole
Okay.
life in
Ooh.
the same home, the same area. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. And what about your cultura? Where are your parents from? Where are you from?
my parents are from Mexico, from Michoacan, a town called Tangancícuaro. They're actually over there right now. They usually spend the holidays out there, so they'll leave for like a couple months.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have three. So I'm the youngest of four boys. So
Ooh.
my mom had
Okay.
four boys. Yeah.
Wow. So tell me about your upbringing a little bit, just to set the stage before we head into the juicy healing awakening part.
Okay. So well yeah, growing up with parents that immigrated here from Mexico, I had to grow up fast and being the youngest, I expected, being the youngest, I wasn't gonna have to do a lot of the things that my parents would need help with, but I feel like I know I'm the youngest, but I feel like I'm the oldest in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to grow up fast. Being around three brothers, I was picked on, being the
Mm,
youngest, of course.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, like my dad, he was like really into sports, soccer, and so like he was a coach for over 25 years. So I grew up in like a soccer family.
Mm,
I was never the athletic one. For me, it was more so like creative. I like to draw and like paint and sing and all that stuff. So it was more so that. And I
wow.
was always like the chunkier kid, so I never really um, yeah, I never really was into sports or anything like that. I think it was more so because like I saw his connection with my other brothers and how he
Yeah.
connected with them, and I kind of felt like left out, and I wanted to like make him proud and see him like happy and stuff like that. So it was more so that, and I never picked it up. I never really was interested in it.
I see. So you mentioned you're the youngest, but it kind of feels like you're the oldest, or some of the responsibilities fell on you. I'm wondering
Yeah.
if you feel comfortable sharing what some of those were.
Yeah. Well, being the youngest, I had to go through with like school, learning how to do everything by myself. All the paperwork that I needed to have
Mm,
parents sign or fill out. I was the one doing it. My brothers were older than me, but they never helped me. Um,
mm,
and I just had to navigate and try to learn how to do everything by myself and even like setting up doctor's appointments for my parents and doing all that. I still do that to this day. My brothers are not really involved in that,
I
um,
see.
so I'm the one that's like helping them with like the property that my dad owns and the tenants that he has. I'm the one that it all like it feels like it all falls on me. So just
Mm,
growing up, it's always been that. So I
got it.
had to worry about my things, but also worry about like my parents. And even then, like when there's issues with my brothers, my parents will come to me to get advice, and sometimes my brothers will come to me for advice as well. So it's always been, yeah.
Wow. I wonder if you resonate with like the term old soul.
Yes, I've gotten that a lot from people.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, because I'm the eldest, but definitely always felt like an old soul. And I think you're kind of holding the fort in a way that one would,
Yeah,
yeah. How
for sure.
interesting. So I'm also wondering if you've ever moved out of your home because you mentioned you've lived in the same home. And so that also I'm thinking maybe is why a lot of the responsibilities stick around with you.
I have not.
Okay.
I I have considered it, and it was prior to the pandemic hitting. My best friend and I were like in talks about like wanting to move in together, and And I actually spoke to my parents about it, and I spoke to my mom, and she was like devastated. She was like, "No, I don't want you to
Mm.
leave." She's like, "No, tú eres el que nos ayuda más. Like, you know, you're the one that helps me a lot and helps us a lot." And that's not gonna stop. I'm just gonna be away from the house, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, but yeah, I have thought about it, but no, I haven't, not yet.
Mm, okay, I see. All right. So the podcast is about healing and awakening. I'm wondering if one or the other resonates more. And yeah, let's start there.
I feel like it's both together. Um, there's been moments where I've had like many awakenings throughout my life, and until recently, I feel once I started my weight loss journey, that's when I started, you know, just focusing more on my mental health, um, the emotions that I was feeling, you know, all the feelings that the unknown, just not, kind of not really feelings that have never been um,
Processed, maybe?
understood, processed or
Mm,
understood. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So that's definitely like that's where I've been on right now, especially heavy on the healing.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So then maybe we can if you can help us pinpoint when do you think that started for you, and maybe not necessarily what triggered it, but what was like that moment when you're like, I need to take care of this. There's something that needs to change.
Right. For me, it started when I was really dealing with like really bad anxiety. It was like debilitating to the point where
Mm,
I wouldn't step out of my house, and if I did, like it would just it would just be to go to the store, and even then, like it would take me over 10 minutes to get out of the car. So a lot
mm,
of the time I just spent time at my house, and I was dealing with like depression, and it all mainly focused around like it all stemmed from my weight, me being
okay.
overweight. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I knew it was an issue. I knew there was a problem, and and once I started my weight loss journey, that's when I was really able to like really focus on me and try to understand me, not just physically, but like mentally, because being on a weight loss journey, it has different effects on you mentally, emotionally, spiritually in different ways. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's when it all started for me. I
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's when it was.
I see. So you would say it was kind of like an increased amount of anxiety that to at some extent was it
Yeah,
like unbearable, or what was it that then was like, okay,
yeah,
let's do something?
yeah. I actually I had a planned trip to Spain back in
Mm,
2015. I had went to go study abroad for it was supposed to be for a month,
mm-hmm.
and I ended up only being there for a week because of my anxiety.
Wow.
And again, that all stemmed from my weight. I felt really
Mm,
uncomfortable. I felt super uncomfortable. So when I returned back, that's when I like felt in a really deep depression, and I didn't like the feeling. The feeling of not seeing like the light at the end of the tunnel. It was scary. It was so
yeah.
scary for me.
Yeah.
So I I didn't like that feeling, and I knew you know there was hope that things were going to get better, but um, that's when it all started. Once I came back, I allowed myself to feel everything that I was feeling, and then once I was able to really um, you know start that process, I made sure I did that.
Mm. Wow. Okay. So a lot of things came up that I think I would love to kind of expand on.
Yeah.
The first one is I think, or I'm wondering if you have um, maybe pinpointed if the insecurities around weight were internal or external. Was there external comments and things that were being situations that you were being put in that then triggered that? Or do you think it's something that you carried with you and internally it just grew?
I feel like it was both. It was both.
Mm,
Just hearing things from like, you know, family members saying like, "Oh, yeah, you're so big." I just remember
mm,
one specific moment that like really stuck with me. And that's actually the moment that I knew that I needed to make a change. Like it was a family like family barbecue, and my aunts were all hanging around the table, and my cousin was there too, and I guess she didn't know that I heard what she said, but
Mm,
she was like, why? She basically said like, why is he so big? And just commenting on my weight, and it made me really
yeah.
uncomfortable. And that kind of from that point on, I stopped coming around. I stopped coming around my
Mm,
family, and I remember my sister-in-law saying something back to her, like defending me. But
mm-hmm.
I had already, it
Internalized
hurt.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
internalized, and it hurt.
Yeah.
Um, because people wouldn't say it to my face, but that was a moment where like I heard it, and it hurt me, and it
Yeah.
really stuck with me, and that made me like distance myself from my family a lot, and I that's when I feel like a lot of the anxiety and depression started as well.
Mm. It's so unfortunate, like I think that a lot of us experience those comments from family members. Sometimes it's even from the same people that we help, like we help
Right?
translate for, we help create,
Yeah.
like, and then they're the same ones that are like criticándonos, right? And
Right.
then I think, I don't know if this happened to you, but then you start to distance yourself, and then there's still something to say about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
ahora, oh, look at him, he's not coming around. Like, it's kind of like they're digging you in your own hole, and they're not seeing how much tierra they're throwing on you, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, it's
And
so
then also like
frustrating.
one thing too that's kind of like um it was another reason why I distanced myself was because I'm gay, and I haven't came out to my family, not my whole
Mm,
family. Like my parents don't know, and I'm aware that we're recording. It's fine. It's totally fine. I don't mind. But my parents don't know. One of my brothers know. My sister-in-law knows, and some of my cousins and one of my aunts. But like as far as like my parents, they don't know. And that growing up too, like I was made fun of growing up with brothers. I was always made fun of for
mm,
doing like the slightest thing. Like if I sang a song, they would say, "Oh my God, that's so gay," or they would say those
mm,
type of comments. So it
yeah.
kind of like it gave it they never I never felt safe.
Mm,
I always
mm-hmm.
felt criticized, whether it was my weight or just the things that I did, like my personality. So
Yeah.
I kind of had to suppress a lot of feelings, and I think that's why like now I'm I feel like I'm always like on this protective mode, like this defense mode, and uh and I don't really show emotions around my family. But I'm like the total
Mm,
opposite when it comes to like other people, being around other people. I
yeah.
can show emotion, I feel safe, but with my family it's hard. It's hard because of the way it was growing up.
Yeah. Wow. I think I definitely resonate so much with feeling like you're kind of being judged on so many angles of who you are, right? And how hard that can
Right.
be, especially in a family unit, because as you're growing up, like that's the people you're around the most, right? And so to feel like you're
Right.
walking on eggshells and that every little thing can be pointed out, and so you don't even know who to be anymore, right?
Right. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The all of
It affected me.
these I
Yeah.
think unintentional ways of dimming your light. If we talk about in the
Right.
time of light, you're probably like this being that's like, "Hello, I'm here." And then family is just kind of like constantly dimming that, and making you hide
Right.
away like you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think another really important thing you mentioned is safety. You said, I don't, in the places where I feel safe, I can come out or like I can be myself.
Right.
And so is that something that you recently came to notice, like the spaces that make you feel safe or the people? Or is that something that you were aware of for a very long time?
Oh, it's something that I was aware of for like the
Mm,
longest time. That's why, like for me, it was hard. I didn't really have that many friends. I was always bullied in school for my
yeah.
weight.
Mm,
So I didn't really have friends. And then the friends that I did have, like I cherished those friendships. And a lot of the times they didn't really cherish the friendship, and they would walk away from the
mm,
friendship, and it would leave me feeling, like how I did at home. So
yeah.
like the small circle of friends that I do have now, like oh, that's like my chosen family. It's just
Mm,
it's like a safe space for me, and their families make it like a safe space for me as well. So
mm.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, beautiful. And one thing that you mentioned too is you went to Spain.
I did.
And I think that sometimes when we're on this journey, there are different ways of trying to escape whatever it is that we're feeling. And sometimes we don't even know the name to what we're going through, but we find like ways to numb or escape, right? And so it can be like
Right,
partying or relationships or drinking. And unfortunately, I think, and fortunately, like those things don't work, right? Like escaping
right,
doesn't work. It's kind of like you can attempt that, and there are people I think that attempt that their whole lives without wanting to
right,
turn around and look at that shadow that's really screaming for
right.
you to look at it. How did that change actually begin to look like was it going to the gym, or was it looking inward? What was that actually like for you?
For me, I felt it was. I just started to watch like videos on how to cook healthy meals and
Mm,
going on walks and seeing other like weight loss, if like, people on Instagram or YouTube
mm-hmm.
that that went through the whole process, and they're currently on on that journey. So that helped me a lot as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
And at that time, what did your support system look like? Was it your group of friends, or what had you not found that group yet?
Yeah, definitely my friends, but also social media. Um, on Instagram when I started my weight loss journey on there, like, and I started posting um, my progress, just the words that I would get from people, and even people
Mm,
that hadn't started their journey, telling me that they're inspired by my journey, and it wasn't more so my family because my I never grew up in like a family that showed their emotions
mm,
or would say, how they felt. And so my parents, they would say, oh, like, oh, good job, or but nothing really like heartfelt. I feel.
yeah.
So it was always from other people from outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be hard too, right? There's always like this surface relationship that kind of can happen with parents
Hmm.
where they get comfortable, you get comfortable. I don't ask too much, they don't ask too much, and
Right.
we leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Hmm.
Mm, I see. Wow. Well, I don't know if you saw it that way when you started posting, but to me, that sounds bold to start posting online
Yeah.
and doing your journey online, because it sounds like there were a lot of spaces where you weren't fully being yourself and allowing yourself to be seen, or you didn't feel safe enough to do so. What was that journey like, kind of like deciding to go online and post there?
I think because of the people that I followed while being on my journey, seeing
Mm-hmm.
them be vulnerable and just not really care about what like the comments of other people. Um, it gave me I guess a sense of like I can do it too, I can do it
Mm,
too, and I want to share my journey with other people because I know how other people sharing their journey help me.
yeah.
So I that was the I feel like that was it for me. Um,
Mm, mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow. Was there any fear behind that choice?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was scary because I'm like, what if I fail? What if I start this, and what if I like start the
Mm,
journey and I end up not fully going through with it?
mm-hmm.
What if that happens and I'm gonna feel like I'm a failure? Um, but I had to kind of just keep pushing myself and knowing that, the journey it's definitely it's not just all the way it's not always going up. There's going to be moments where it's going to be tough, and just understanding that and recognizing that's a thing that can happen. It like helped me not really be hard on myself and uh, not really worry.
Do you think that you learned that? I think that's like something that takes a long time to understand, that healing isn't linear, right? Whether it's even
Yeah.
physical, mental, all of that, and that there may be setbacks and it's not failure. Did you learn that through the people that you were following, or was that like from somewhere else?
Um, I honestly, it's hard uh, to really answer that. I feel like it was a mix of the people that I was following, but also just um, really taking time to understand myself
Mm-hmm.
and like kind of uh, uh, just realizing things myself as well. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, it was people that I was following, but it was also like uh, it was me realizing things as well.
I see. Was there, in addition to working out, was there other things that you were doing towards your healing journey? Like, was there therapy? Was there journaling, meditation? Or do you think like the gym or working out was the space where then you started to build that relationship with yourself and really dive into that journey?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it was more so the gym. It was more so the gym
Mm,
and working out and just seeing like my progress. I took a ton of before and after pictures, and just to kind of give me motivation and see the changes that were going throughout, with myself. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, for me, it was more so working out at that time, but now it's like now it's progressed to something even more and it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about the even more part because I think that's the
Yeah.
juicy part, probably.
Yeah. I get so excited about talking about it.
Yeah. But before we
Yeah.
dive into that, what were some
Yeah.
maybe big moments in your weight loss journey that you were like, wow, things are shifting, things are changing?
Yeah.
Were there like reflection points or maybe some that stand out to you?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning for me, it wasn't so like I just started working out. It was like a whole thing where at the time, I don't know, I'm not sure if you're aware, but like Khloe Kardashian had like a show called Revenge
Mm-hmm.
Body. And
Okay.
so,
Yes.
that when I came back from my trip, I just randomly just saw an email that she was gonna start the show, and they're gonna have casting calls. So like I applied, and they called me back. I went for like the casting call, and at the same time, at that time, I was looking into getting weight loss surgery.
Okay.
And so for me, it was like it's either going on the show, being on the show if they have me, or getting this weight loss surgery. And of course, I wasn't on the show, but then I decided, okay, I'm gonna go through with the weight loss surgery. I went through the whole process up until having I up until like 2 day. I had my surgery scheduled already. It was gonna
Wow.
be for August 10th, 2016, and
Okay.
2 days before my surgery date. I really took time to really like analyze everything and really ask myself, like, did I really try and give myself that opportunity to do it on my own?
Mm-hmm.
And I answered it, and I was like, no, I didn't. So 2 days before my surgery date, I canceled it,
Yeah.
and I started the journey. Right as soon as I hung up the phone, I said I have to do this. I really have to. There's no choice because there's other people out here that would love to have this surgery that don't have the privilege to get that surgery, and me, I'm just like throwing it away. Like I have to really take this
Mm,
serious.
yeah.
So from then on, it was just like uh, it, it, it's just a journey in itself. It's crazy just to think about it, just to kind of think back on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was definitely moments when I first hit my like 20 pounds, and then it led to like 50 pounds, and then 100 pounds was like the moment where I'm like, wow, I really did that. I really did that.
Wow. Yeah.
And so yeah, there have been many moments throughout my journey that yeah have
Mm-hmm.
just made me see things and just kind of sit back and be proud of myself, and because a lot of the time throughout the journey I was like, oh, it's not enough. I need to do more. Like, this is not enough. But I had to keep reminding myself, like, hey, I'm not where I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not where I used to be. So like, you can't be too hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like a really empowering move to turn down or say no 2 days before.
Hmm. Yeah.
And was it immediate for you? Like, were you able to then really go full on? I mean, I personally, there's been moments where I can like go in on my fitness journey and then I like go back, and it's been this yo-yoing that I've been doing. I'm wondering for you, was it like, no, let's do this, and you've been on that path for since then, or was it a slow start?
No, I sent as soon as like I called and I canceled it, I immediately got up. I remember I immediately got up. I got up and I went on a walk for like 2 hours. And so like
Oh.
I did that from that day on. I did that every day. I went on 2 walks every day for 2 hours. And so I just started to progress from like walking to jogging a little bit and then to incorporating a little bit more running and then eventually I joined like this boot camp gym and so it definitely it started from that point on. It started, but of course within that journey I had moments where like I I feel like maybe it was within the first after the first year I had moments where I kind of fell off for a little bit, like a month or so, but like I knew that I was going to get back on. So I would get back
Mm,
on, and then it's not even to this day. Like it's still hard for me. Like sometimes I fall off, but at the end of the day, I know that I'm not going to allow myself to get back to the point where I was
yeah.
because of how like bad I felt with like my anxiety and my depression. Like I don't ever want to be in that headspace ever again. So that
Mm-hmm.
motivates me to continue when I have those moments of when I'm not doing my best.
Yeah. And you mentioned then it turned into so much more. What is that more? Tell us more.
Yeah. Just I started just diving into trying to understand my emotions and come to terms with it with like I feel like that turning point was when I like came out to my friends. I was able
Mm,
to like be myself around
mm-hmm.
them because I felt safe with them. I felt like, you know, I needed to tell them. And ever since then, that's when like things just started changing. And this year specifically, um, it's been a big turning point with my healing journey. I was at a very low moment last year. I started journaling and and um, and just the way that I shifted my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to say negative things about myself because oftentimes, like, have with
Mm,
someone like for myself, I lost weight and there's moments where I look at myself in the mirror and I still see like the old me, and
mm,
I'll say things like, "Oh my God, like why does your chest look like that, or why do your arms look like this?" Or so now I try my best to kind of to to just be gentle with myself because a lot of the time I was very hard on myself and I'm like, what would my my child self like feel
mm,
if I said those things to
yeah.
growing up being bullied. It's like I'm bullying myself. So like I had to really understand and just try to see and try to understand that like I have to it starts with me. I have
Yeah.
to really I had to really change my mindset and and see things differently.
Mm,
So
wow.
yeah, journaling has been it's been like the biggest blessing. It's helped me so much. And just
Yeah.
taking time to be by myself because oftentimes I had the friends that I had, I felt like I needed to be around people all the time
Mm,
um, to feel like I was loved.
mm-hmm.
And that's coming from lack of love, like self-love.
Yeah.
So I understanding that I needed to spend time with myself and really sit with my thoughts and my emotions and the feelings and not be judgmental towards them. And just like I said, just be gentle and try to understand everything. So try to understand where these emotions and these feelings are coming from, and yeah, it's allowed me to come to this point where like I enjoy my solitude. I enjoy being
Mm,
by myself. I feel safe when I'm by myself, you know. Um,
yeah.
and uh, and yeah, that's
Wow. I think that you've mentioned a lot of really good pieces. You can have like this thought of I just like being around a lot of people. That's just how I grew
mhm,
up and that's just what I like. And so you carry that through, but some of the maybe invisible results of that you might not notice and maybe the people around you don't notice either is that constantly being surrounded with people doesn't allow you to hear yourself, right? Like hear
right,
your own voice and process with yourself. And I'm sure there's a healthy like balance, but until you find that, sometimes solitude is really good just to be able to discern like which are my like which voices in my head are mine and which ones am I
right,
carrying through from childhood, like you mentioned.
right.
And those voices can get so loud and they can be so mean and harsh,
For
right?
sure. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
can. And like I
Yeah.
consider myself to be an empath, so like I like I realized that I was carrying other people's emotions and I was
Mm,
holding on to them and I'm like, no, these are not for me to keep. These are not for me. So I need to let
mm-hmm.
go of those and really try to find like what thoughts and emotions were mine.
Yeah.
So that was when I was able to even I'm not saying like that I completely understand now because every day is a growing process. I
Yeah.
still every single day, there's I feel like there's a lesson in everything that happens in one's life. Yeah, that's
Yeah. And I also love that you mentioned like the inner niño or the inner you, right? That's not that,
yeah,
yeah, that tender part of us that gets really stripped away based on all of the comments that happen. Sometimes there's this fear of judgment or what will people say, and they don't realize that they're carrying this fear from a very long time ago. Let's say someone really liked yellow, right? And so they're like, I really like yellow, but you forget that you like yellow because a lot of times, every time you wore yellow, someone told you, oh, yellow's such an ugly color, right? Maybe growing up.
right,
And then as an adult, you forget you like yellow and you also start judging people that wear yellow.
hmm
And one day, like when you're on the journey or on the path, I feel like you start stripping away those comments, those things, and you're like, why the heck have I not worn yellow? And like
right,
in so long. And that's some of the things that like I work on with my clients. It's like, well, when was the last time someone said anything about you wearing yellow? Well, when I was a child, I'm like, wow, you haven't worn yellow because when you were a child, someone told you. And it's not from a judging place. It's more like the recognition of like, yeah, like I am the one who's now judging myself. I'm the one who
right,
stops myself. And I get to decide, do I carry that voice with me through the rest of my life or do I leave it where it belongs in the past, right? And then move
right,
forward.
yeah. It's definitely it's it's a good moment when you like realize that a lot of people project things
Mm,
on you and um sometimes those most of the time those emotions or those words or those things are not for you to keep.
mm-hmm.
They're not for you to hold on and they were never meant for you to hold on. So like, just realizing that you have to let go of those comments or ways of how like people made you feel
Yeah.
because that's not how you felt. People made you feel that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just learning to be kind and gentle with yourself. That's definitely it's helped me a lot.
Now, my next question is now kind of learning more about your journey and kind of the things that you have gone through and where you're at. One thing that happened to me was this like really big fire in me or urge to be authentically myself in all of the spaces I occupied. I was like, I realize now that I wasn't me, that I consider myself an empath too. So I realize now that I'm like pleasing everyone in every space I occupy, right? Whether it's at home or at work or with friends. And so for me, home was not easy, but it felt easier like to transition into here's who I am and I'm going to set my boundaries and all of that. Friends, same thing. Work was the hardest one for me.
Hmm.
It sounds like for you, friends was a little bit easier. Home is still hard. How does it
Yeah.
feel to be navigating? Like, do you have that same kind of like urge, or is it not as loud yet? Like, where are you at in terms of like, I want to be myself in everywhere that I am?
Oh, I've actually, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, you know what? Like, I've I've grown so much from like where I was before to now, where like
Mm-hmm.
even things that I would post on my Instagram story, I was like constantly trying to, uh, um, to the point where it gave me anxiety because I'm like, okay, if I post this, are they gonna think that, with my family, are they gonna think that, oh, he posts this like, oh, he is gay, or
Mm,
these things. So now it's like it's come to the point where like I don't care. I don't care at all. Like what I post is what I post, and if they feel a certain type of way, it's not my business, you know.
yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as I'm being authentically myself. But yeah, I've come to the point where like uh I feel like I'm myself around my family. I'm able to express myself as far as I'm not hiding things that I like to do. Um, but the only thing is just I haven't shared that part of myself with like my parents, and it's not more so like
Mm,
out of fear of how they're going to react. It's just um, I guess right now I'm just not. Uh, I haven't reached the point where like I just don't know how to say it, or if I even need to say it, because um I I I feel like a lot of people have that pressure that they have to say the words like, oh, I'm gay, or
mm,
and it's like um for me it's hard to kind of um how do I say this? It's hard for me to kind of just grasp that, because grasp that thought of like how am I gonna approach this with my parents, or because with
mm-hmm.
my family, that's not something that I feel like I need to like come out with my family. Like if when they find out, that's the when they're gonna find out. But
Yeah.
it's more so like because my mom and I were like super close.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's not out of fear that she's gonna she's going to disown me. I don't think it's that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
um I guess it's more so me being vulnerable to
Yeah.
showing emotion, because growing up I never was able to show my emotions, or like express my feelings with my family. Like we don't really say I love you ever. We
Mm,
don't say stuff. So I guess it's more so like the feeling of of uncomfortableness, like with
mm-hmm.
having that conversation.
Yeah.
But it's not so much like the fear that they're gonna reject me or disown me, because I've come to terms that if people don't accept me for who I am, like it's fine. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I hope that
I
made sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And one, I want to say, like, for anyone who's resonating with this, I think that, like, if we were to put side by side who you were, like, 7 years ago before this all started and now, it's likely that we would meet two very different people,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
And maybe some people find themselves somewhere in between that spectrum. And what I just want to kind of call out or shout out is I think that the journey itself, I mean, everyone will have their own journey around healing and what that looks like and what they're ready for and when. But I think what allows you to start saying, I don't care what others say, like right now that you're saying, like, well, I
Mhm.
don't care what they say, like, or I don't care what they think, the permission comes from you validating yourself, right? And you can tell me if
Mhm.
this resonates, but I think it comes from starting to see yourself, not
Mhm.
hiding from yourself anymore, because you might not realize how much you're hiding yourself from you. But once you're like, I'm not scared of you, come on, come out. Let me show me what you got and I got you, you know. Once you start doing that over and over and over again, the inner you, whatever you want to call it, inner Nino you, the inner you, your soul, your true authentic self starts to feel safe within you. And so it
Mhm.
doesn't matter like what others think, what
Yeah.
others say, right?
Yeah, that 100%. I was getting like just a little bit emotional, just like hearing you say that, because it's true. Like being on this journey of healing and trying to understand my feelings and my emotions, and just try to understand myself more.
Yeah.
It's opened up this door of like I feel safe with myself. So like what other people think about me, it's none of my business. It's not I shouldn't hold on to what other people think about me, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's such a beautiful, freeing feeling.
it is.
And that's why I speak on healing, because I want this for everyone, and
Yeah,
I hope this for
yeah.
everyone. And I know that it can be like a lonely road sometimes. It can feel
Hmm.
lonely. It can feel like you're not making progress, but hopefully take it from us, like from all of the guests on the podcast, that it is a journey. It's not quick, but it's so worth it,
It
right?
is. It's yeah, 100%. It's so worth it, and I wouldn't change this. I wouldn't change this for anything. I'm very grateful, and I'm appreciative. Like every single day, just being able to wake up and I'm very appreciative and blessed for like the moments where like the not so good moments, because I know that at the end of the day, like I'm gonna learn something out of those moments. So
Yeah.
I'm always accepting, of those moments when they happen. Of course, at the moment it might suck, it might hurt, but in the back of my mind is like, it's okay, it's all right, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So it's constantly that for me when I have those moments of like self-doubt or um or questioning my self-worth. It's like it's all right, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. It's just a moment that you have to get through right now, and it's okay to sit in that moment and try to understand yourself, because like I'm gonna grow from this moment. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like you're coaching yourself through now, instead of like
Yeah.
putting yourself down like maybe you used to in the
Yeah.
past. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is, you're mentioning this dynamic with your mom and not feeling the need to change that dynamic. I think sometimes we fear the change, right? Like, how is this going to change? I mean, I think for you, coming out is like one way of changing that, perhaps, the fear of like, this relationship might change if I say this. For
Right.
others, it might be like, I don't believe in Jesus, or I don't know, like there's different things that you
Yeah.
come out to your family when you're on this path, right? Because you start shedding like, oh, maybe I was in this career because I thought my parents wanted me, and now I want to be myself. Or maybe I dress a certain way, or I hang out with certain people. Like, there's so many things that if you internalize and are a people pleaser, as you start finding yourself, there's going to be things that you're going to stop wanting to do. And as you empower yourself, you're going to be able to let those things go.
Mm.
But what I think is important, and what I think like well, not important, what I think can happen, and it's good for us to remember, is that there is also some grieving in that sometimes. There's
Right.
grieving in letting go of those parts of you. As much as you recognize that's not me anymore, it can change dynamics that, even if they weren't as authentic as now you're craving, they were still a big part of you. They
Right.
were still likely existing within you, or with you for long periods of time. So if you let go of something, it's still hard. Even when you're like, I don't want that anymore and I'll be okay, just know like it's still okay, and it's still pretty normal to grieve that, right? Like grieve the
Yeah. Can
change.
I touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Because I know like for me, I had a moment where I was like sad, and I was trying to like understand why I was sad. And I actually journaled about it. Like this was when I kind of first started journaling.
Mm-hmm.
That sadness was coming from me grieving the old me. I was sad because I was like, I miss some parts of me from when from before. And it's
Yeah.
like, and because I was so used to being in that headspace, that it's kind of, it was me for years. And
Yeah.
like now understanding that, I've grown, and my the way I see things and the way I view things are different. It's kind of, yeah, like there was a grieving period where I just missed the old me, but also very open to like to learning about the new me and getting to know me, the new me, and continuing to get to know the new me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, all of the changes you make can be good, and that still doesn't mean like we find ways as humans, I think, to adapt and make home even in hard places, even in places where we don't belong, even in places where
right.
we get hurt. Like we bring up a little couch, a little pillow, or like we get comfy, even if it
Yeah,
hurts.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think one of the things that I like to ask is there's a lot of hard things that come with being a first gen.
hmm
But I'm wondering, what is one of your favorite things about being a first gen?
Um, I think my desire to like be there for people and help people, and um because I had to do it, since I was younger, since I
Mm-hmm.
was young, and I think that's why I'm in the field that I am right now at this moment. I work with adults who have disabilities.
Oh.
So just, being that person that um, people can come to for help. And so I feel like that's something that I'm grateful for, being
Mm.
a first gen is that. And also just um, I understand like it was hard for me growing up. I didn't really have like a childhood. Um, but if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So I always say, like, there's many people out there that hold resentment for their parents
Mm.
because of, they didn't allow them to be a kid or they had to grow up fast. But for me, I always say that I'm grateful. And I actually had this conversation with my mom not that long ago, but um, like my brothers they hold like this resentment or grudge against my parents for just the way our upbringing. But
Yeah.
I've come to terms, and I expressed with my mom. I was like, you guys did what you guys could with what you guys knew. So although it wasn't the ideal childhood, um, I still had a home. I still had both parents, and I learned a lot from those situations, and just the way that I grew up. So
Mm-hmm.
I see it now as, it's a blessing. I love it. I'm proud to be a first gen. So
Mm, that's
yeah, for
beautiful.
sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of episodes, honestly, we speak about a little bit about the resentment part.
hmm
But I'm glad. I mean, it's beautiful that there are people like you that really skip that part, right? I think, like, in some journeys, it's a part of it. We have to let the resentment out. Then we can circle back if possible and then be like, okay, now
Right.
there's gratitude. But if you're able to, show them gratitude from the get go, I think that's beautiful too. Because the parents,
Yeah.
I'm sure, appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
Hmm.
course. Yeah. There's moments that I feel, I feel not resentment, but kind of like I just think back and I'm like, dang. Or there's moments that happen in my life now. It's like, oh, I didn't get to experience that when I have like conversations with people. I'm like, I
Mm.
didn't get to experience that. Like, it's unfortunate, but that that helps me understand that, when I decide to have my family, it's gonna be completely different. It's
Mm.
gonna like it's gonna end with me, and it's gonna, I'm gonna start something new with my family. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah, how exciting. If there's anything maybe that you want to share about the weight loss journey that you'd like others to hear, aside from the healing journey, I think that's a journey of in and of itself. And so maybe people that follow you specifically for that and are watching this, if you want to share a message for them or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I know it's hard. It's super hard. It was hard for me, but just trying, just at least trying to be kind to yourself when you have moments of doubt or fear that that you can't do it. Like You can, you definitely can. I know it's hard to understand at the moment sometimes, but coming from me, from someone who didn't see the light, at the end of the tunnel, like, and to where I am today, and not saying that I'm like in the best place, but I'm in a better place than where I was before. And yeah, just trying to be kind and gentle with yourself and not really listen to the outside noise. Just try to focus on you and your journey. Um, I feel like that's one thing. I feel like being kind to yourself is really important because once you start to understand that being kind to yourself is really important, and people like kind of I feel like there's people like, even for me, like when I started my whole weight loss journey, I didn't think about, being kind to myself. For me, it was just more so like, oh, the physical part. Like, I need to lose weight. I
Mm,
need to look. I want to look good. But then as the journey progressed, like, I started noticing, like, no, I feel good. I feel good, and
mm.
knowing that I feel so much better, like, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all that. Like, that for me is more than anything else. Like, more than all the physical stuff. So. Um, yeah, I would say, yeah, just try to be gentle and kind to yourself in moments where you feel like you can do it,
I
because you
love
definitely
that.
can.
Yeah, it's like
Thanks.
I think a lot of spaces don't take into consideration the whole human. Like our world can be very results driven, right? Like how to
Right,
lose more, how to lose faster, or just with anything, it's like more, faster, more, faster.
right,
So,
yeah,
and at the end of the day, like what is that worth if you feel the same when you get to your goal or to that result, right? So
yeah,
I love that you're saying it's like more of a fuller approach, like of a let it transform all aspects of you, not just the physical.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So where can people find you and check your stuff out? Because I know you post about your journey, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to see.
Well, on Instagram, I'm uh, Henry underscore what at yeah, Henry what 18, but it's ENRI underscore WHAT 18 18.
Okay.
And then on it's the same for TikTok as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And what maybe you can mention a little bit about what you post so that
Oh
they know
yeah.
what to expect.
Um, well, right now it's kind of in the, because I went on TikTok. It started off with like just posting before and after video, like pictures and stuff, and I come to the realization that that's all superficial, and a lot of people,
Mm,
when people see those, they see the beginning and the end result. And it's not just that, it's not just that. So like now I'm just trying to change and trying to create content that's just like just more myself.
ooh, how exciting. I love that that's the direction you're going in because I think, yeah,
Yeah,
it gives people depth to what you're going through,
right,
aside from the
right.
physical.
Yeah, and I want people to get to know, like, me. I want them to get to know the real me. And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely gonna change. It's gonna change. It's gonna continue to change soon. So I'm excited about
Yay.
that.
All right, guys. So, yeah, definitely go check him out. And so now these are resource questions. So that people have maybe some things to check out, music, books, etc. So, the first question is what is your favorite healing or mindful tool?
Journaling. I feel
Journaling.
like
Yeah.
journaling is that's my go-to, would be journaling.
Can you share how you journal? Because I think when a lot of people hear journaling, when I'm working one on one with people, they are immediately like, "You." I see it. I'm like, "Oh, I know you're
Yeah,
resistant. I know. I know."
yeah.
So what? How do you use journaling?
For me, it's more so because I know a lot of people think that it's like it's this whole template. You need to follow this template, but for me, it's more so like it's a non-judgment zone, and I'm free to write whatever I want at the moment. Like the emotions and everything that I'm feeling at the moment, I jot it down. Even like things that I felt throughout the day, and trying to understand why I felt angry or why I felt sad, and I write that down. So there's no template, there's nothing. There's some days where I have things to write, and then I try to make it for the most part for the past few months. I've been consistent with journaling every single day. I actually like have them here with
Oh,
me.
I love it.
But yeah, there's no template, there's no structure. It's just me just writing things and ending it on a good note. So that's why I look
Mm.
forward to journaling at the end of the day, because if I had a rough day, I know that at the end of the day I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be like grounded again. I'm gonna be fine. So that's the way that I approach it.
Mm, okay. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing that. I know journaling is something that we hear a lot and we're like, ugh, but it's helped a lot of
yeah,
people, including myself. So yeah, thank you for
yeah, for
sharing your
sure.
way of doing it. What is a habit that you do for yourself every day?
A habit that I do for myself every day. Um, Journaling,
All
journaling,
right.
working out. Yeah, working out. And one thing I love to do too, it's not every day, but almost, I feel like it's almost every day. I love to watch sunsets. Um,
Ooh, beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I love to do.
What is a favorite song to listen to when you need to feel inspired or pick me up?
Birds by Mount Wolf.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Because it's more so like there's music in the back, but it's a dialogue. They're just talking.
Mm, okay.
So it's not really like singing, it's just talking, and yeah, that's helped me.
Favorite quote or advice that you may refer back to?
I would say never underestimate the power of like small changes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I like
A
that.
lot of people like think that they need to make big changes in order to you know for it to hold like value, and it's like no,
Mm,
it's the small changes that really matter, the
yeah,
small changes. The
yeah,
small changes lead to the bigger things. So
yeah. It's
yeah,
like maybe not celebrating you and yourself until you hit the 100 mark, but there was 25, like you mentioned, right? There was
yeah,
25,
exactly.
50, 75. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Influencer that you follow that leaves you feeling positive or inspired.
Um, well, during my weight loss journey, it was two people. One of them. Her name is Laura. Her Instagram is the Iron Giantess, and then the other person is his name is John, and his Instagram page is Obese to Beast.
Awesome. What is a feel good or powerful book or movie?
It's not a book for me, and it's not a movie. It's more so a show.
Okay.
It's a TV show. It's called This Is Us, and the reason why I say that one is because it taps in on a lot. It taps in on mental health. It taps in um, on eating disorders. It taps in on racism. It taps in on politics. It taps in on, adoption. It taps in on so many things, and it's helped me like understand a lot too. So
Mm,
that show, I love that show.
yeah.
There's different moments. There's like many moments where I got emotional, and then because like
Mm,
a lot of time, like there's been moments where I can relate to the to the things that they're going through in the show. So
hmm.
it's definitely helped me like process and understand some things too, and just kind of like validate some of my feelings and things that I've gone through as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes I think shows can be even more impactful than a book or movie because they do extend to a long period of
right,
time. So there may be
right,
years where you've been watching a show and that like literally takes you through a journey in
yeah,
and of itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. So these last set of questions are fun, fast questions.
okay,
¿Estás listo?
yes,
Ok.
estoy listo.
¿Pozole o tamales?
Un pozole, 100%.
¿Champurrado or hot chocolate?
Champurrado,
Bad Bunny or Daddy Yankee?
Bad Bunny. I mean I don't really listen to I never really listened to like the old reggaeton.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up really listening to like um like Spanish music, but now
Mm,
I just love I love Bad Bunny. So yeah, I
okay.
would just have to say Bad Bunny.
All right. I'm sure Daddy Yankee's listening, but he's fine. He'll be okay.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Concha de vainilla o chocolate?
Chocolate.
And if we pull up to your favorite taco spot, what are you ordering?
Tacos de carne asada or a burrito de carne asada.
How many tacos?
6.
6 tacos, okay. De carne
6.
asada con todo?
Yeah, yeah, with everything.
Okay. Salsa verde o roja?
Roja.
Roja. Okay.
Roja.
Perfect.
I mean, actually, no, both. It's both. I feel like it's both, but
Ooh.
the red one, it's I get more of the red one, and I'll have a little bit of the green one, and I'll like mix it. Yeah.
Okay, let's get even more specific. What percentage? 70-30, 80-20?
Um, 75% red and 25% green.
Okay.
And then yeah, 75% red and 25% green.
Excellent. So, for those of you guys that are listening, I would love to know what's your percentage. If you mix salsas, comment what percentage verde, what percentage roja. And if you're just listening in, you can go watch the video on YouTube or you can message us and we would love to know. So, with that being said, Enrique, thank you so much for being on the podcast and for
No, thank
spending
you.
some time on here. Is there anything, before I close it out, is there anything that you would like to say? Like any ending
Um,
messages?
well, I mean, to you, I just want to say that thank you so much for um, allowing this space for me to share these things and also allowing this space for other people to listen and to tap into like it's the work that you're doing is amazing and it's a blessing. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to be part of this. I really do appreciate it.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm receiving that. I love doing this. So I'm so happy that there are other people who are willing to participate and also see the value in it. So yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your amigas, amigos, amigues. We want all of the Latinas to listen to this. And also remember, First Gen, I love you. I love me. And I can't wait for you to love yourself. Bye.
Bye.